What's up, everyone? My name is Eric Nickerson. I probably don't introduce myself enough when making videos. So, I'm currently having to install my new U-joints and some drive shaft for my truck. They finally came in. So, that's what I'm doing tonight. But I wanted to actually talk to you guys about something that kind of came up the past couple days. So, if you've seen my last video, which actually isn't posted yet, but it will be by the time this one's posted, I had mentioned I was wearing some icy hot patches on my arms because they're really sore. I was moving stuff around on Wednesday, so today is Monday, first Monday of the year, so it's the third. But I was moving some stuff around last Wednesday, and then my arms just hurt really bad the next couple of days. And typically, it's not a big deal. I would just put it out to being sore. But it started affecting me in ways that I wasn't really expecting and kind of scared me. And it kind of put things into perspective. And that's why I wanted to make a video about it, is because it was so... it was kind of like a reality check type of deal for me. Hopefully I'm not making too much noise. I know this is metal on metal, so it's going to be a little loud. Alright, so let me kind of give you a little bit of background of what happened. Wednesday, I went to our storage unit. I had loaded up the car Tuesday night. And then Wednesday, after work, on the way to get the kids, I stopped by our storage unit because it's on the way. It's convenient. And I unloaded some stuff. I have electricity in that storage unit, so I put a security camera in there because, to be honest, that storage unit wasn't very secure. So I put a security camera in there that's constantly recording. When I left the storage unit, I was feeling a little sore. I was like, okay, obviously I just did some work, picking up some stuff. There was a couple things that was actually pretty heavy. So I was like, okay, I just, lifted some stuff. I haven't worked out like all year. Well, I haven't worked out consistently all year. So my muscles aren't quite used to it. Things like that. So as the night went on Wednesday, watching the kids and stuff, my muscles just became more and more sore. Normal stuff. Well, on Thursday, my muscles were extremely sore. My biceps and forearms. So, my biceps, my forearms right here were extremely sore. Like, I couldn't stretch my arms out. And I was like, I guess I may have, moved wrong, pulled something, or kind of just strained my muscle a little bit. Like I said, I didn't really work out. I don't really work out right now, so I easily could have done something my body's not used to. I was taking ibuprofen, I would put BioFreeze on. Sometimes I'd use those icy hot patches, things like that, trying to just relax the muscles because they felt extremely tight. And then Friday comes along. They're still extremely sore, and that's when I was recording that video. Kind of explained it. Well, towards the end of Thursday, so this is New Year's Eve. Towards the end of Friday, sorry. Towards the end of Friday when I was recording that video, sourcing all the products. Towards the end of Friday, so this was New Year's Eve, my hands were getting really weak. They got really weak. I couldn't grip anything. I could barely open up a soda can. I had to fight really hard to open up a drink. Just simple things that you should be able to do with your hands, I couldn't do. Thing is, my muscles on this backside of my forearm here, the outside of the forearm, don't know what they're called, but those were feeling extremely tight, and you feel those when you move your fingers around. And where my forearm was hurting before it was just all extremely tight. So I was like, okay, maybe that's the issue. Maybe I strained more muscles than I thought, and that's the issue there. Yeah, so I put it up to just being maybe extremely sore. Things like that, strain some muscles. So just tried not to think much of it, kind of be cautious with what I was doing, but at the same time, kind of work those muscles out. Well, Saturday comes around, Saturday morning. My muscles are a little tight. Hands are still extremely weak. I can barely do anything. I can barely pick up my phone. I can't unlock it with one hand. I have to use both hands to unlock it. Like, I can't even press the button with one hand, so that's how weak my hands were. I couldn't put on jeans. I had to put on basketball shorts. Those were the only things I could barely get up to put on. Couldn't put my hair up. My hands were too weak for the rubber band, so I was like, this is weird. But my arms were still really tight, so I took some medicine, and then my muscles started to relax. And that's when I started getting concerned, because I was trying to think of, well, why are my hands so weak? And I tried to think of a few possibilities. This is really weird. I can barely do anything. I couldn't close them in a fist. It was probably as far as I could close them, trying my hardest. Things like that. I still had feeling in them. So luckily that wasn't a concern. I could still feel everything. I just could barely close them. I could kind of push stuff, but I had to use my whole palm. I could barely use my fingers. I just didn't have the strength. And I had no grip. So basically anything that took any type of dexterity I couldn't do at all. And I had the kids all day. So I had to take care of them when I could barely grab anything. So it was a little rough. It was a pretty rough day. But I started thinking of what could be going on. Maybe it's worse than I'm thinking. So obviously, first option was strain my muscles. And I'm just feeling this a few days late. And I just, need to work it out, be cautious, things like that. That was my most logical thought because of, the events of what led up to it with moving things around, things like that. Second option, thought, was carpal tunnel. I work in an office setting all day, like I'm sitting down on my computer all day working, and then I do a lot of things with my hands, work on cars, woodworking, all this type of stuff. And I also am on the computer a lot outside of work, doing reselling and YouTube and all the things I do. So I was like, carpal tunnel. I was like, it kind of onset pretty fast, but maybe there were symptoms showing on and off that maybe I didn't catch. Most people would think, okay, yeah, those are the two options, but I actually have a third option, which was worst case scenario, and obviously I thought that I kept in mind, but I tried to just think it wasn't it, and that is not exactly sure on the pronunciation, but Guillian-Barre Syndrome. Now, I was diagnosed with Guillian-Barre Syndrome when I was like 3 or 4. I had meningitis. That's how they're connected in some way. From my understanding of what Guillain-Barré is, I don't know much about it, but I do know it's just kind of something you have, and you may never be affected by it, or it can just come on really quick. I believe something usually triggers it, but it could just kind of happen almost randomly, and it affects your nerves, and you can start losing the ability to use certain muscles. You basically start becoming paralyzed in certain parts of your body. It can affect your whole body. It can just affect certain parts, certain nerves, things like that. So it's not the same for everyone. It can kind of be reversed if it's caught on time, but not always. So it's kind of like you don't know. From my understanding, people don't know a whole lot about it and what it is. They just know in some way it's connected to meningitis. So like when we had to get the meningitis shot for college, I got exempt for it because I told them I have Guillain-Barré, and they're like, okay, you cannot get the shot because it could cause you to flare up or something happen. So that was a concern in my mind. And obviously, once my parents found out, that was their first concern. Like, oh my God, like, you need to get checked out. Wow. Obviously, that was my biggest concern. I was trying to stay positive, and logically, I was like, well, I did strain myself pretty hard at the storage unit, so that's probably really it. But there's always a possibility that it could be Guillain-Barre. So I had that in the back of my mind. So that was Saturday. I was starting to get worried about that issue. So our doctor's office that we normally go to doesn't open up till Monday, so we couldn't schedule an appointment until today. You know, it was Saturday when I started getting that concern and that thought in my head. Well, so I was like, I told Jackie, I was like, well, okay, I'm just going to take it easy. Like, let's stay positive. I just strained some muscles. You know, maybe that's most likely the issue here, you know. I was like, but let's see how Sunday goes. Saturday night passed, and then Sunday morning, got up. Hands are still a little weak at first, and like no change at all from Saturday. So that was a little concerning. But then probably about 2 or 3 hours later, you know, I took some medicine and put some biofreeze on my arms because they felt really tight. I started noticing I started getting a little bit more movement back. I can move my hands a little bit faster. So that was good news. But still, we wanted to keep an eye on it, you know, and not just assume that it's not Guillain-Barre, because that's always a possibility, and we want to keep that in mind. But luckily, by Sunday night, I probably got up to about 75% functionality of my hands. It was still very difficult. I had a lot of trouble changing diapers. That was very hard. Just, you know, the tabs, pinching the tabs, things like that, taking them off, trying to wipe. Just the pressure of trying to wipe was very difficult. Things like that. I couldn't cook, so I had to go get them dinner, but then putting them in the car was difficult. So things like that. So it was pretty rough, but I got a little bit more use out of my hands by the end of Sunday, so I was feeling a little bit more positive about the whole situation. And then now today, Monday, this morning, my hands were doing pretty good. They're still about 75-80%. And then throughout the day, as you can see, like, much better. I don't have full strength. I'm probably at about 90-95% functionality and strength. But I can do most things now. Put my hair up, open a drink, things like that. Things I couldn't do. So, like, if this is as good as they got, like, if there was no more progress from here, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Obviously, if I got full functionality back, that'd be even better. But I can live with this. I know this is long. I'm going to try to cut it up to where you get the story and make it not so long. Here's the reason why I'm telling you guys this. It's because on Saturday, when it was at its worst, and I started having my worst thoughts, trying to stay positive, but also know that there's a possibility of, you know, of the reality of the situation, and being practical and understanding that there's always these other possibilities. I started thinking about, like, what am I going to do? You know, I had trouble taking care of the kids, and I'm the main parent in their life right now. Just due to Jackie's work, I'm the one taking care of them about 80-90% of the time. And that percentage may be a little dramatic, but I am taking care of the majority of the time by myself. You know, with my hands the way they are, if worst case scenario, they didn't get any better, or I guess if the situation was they didn't get any better, or worst case scenario, they got worse to where I had even less functionality in them, like, what were we going to do? Like, Jackie would have to be there to help take care of the kids and take care of me, because I wouldn't be able to open anything. I almost couldn't open up doors. I had to fight to open up a door, you know, that my 2.5-year-old can open no problem. So I just started thinking about that, and obviously I got all these tools out here. I wouldn't be able to use them. There's no way I wouldn't even be able to pick these up. I almost couldn't even pick up a pill off of the table. Like, I couldn't pinch it, and when I did, my hands were shaky, So there was just all these thoughts. It'd be very difficult to work on a car. I wanted to do a car wrapping business, something I've been wanting to get into. And how hard would it be to wrap cars when I can hardly use my hands? And that's the main tool I need. Your hands are so important to do so many things, and I had a concern that I was going to lose my ability to use them. So I tried staying positive, but it just got really scary because it wasn't going to stop me from doing what I want to do in my life. Or at least I was going to not let it stop me as much as possible. But it was really going to affect how I wanted to do that. So just kind of put things into perspective of like how quickly your plans and thoughts can change. And that it was just kind of a reality for me, like that Guillian-Barre could have been a possibility. I'm thinking it's not now because I've gained functionality back for the most part. There's still a chance. So I still have a doctor's appointment in a few days just to make sure there's no underlying issues, things like that, and so that I kind of know what I can do next time to maybe speed up the process of getting my hands back working. And I just wanted to make this video because, like I said, it puts a lot of things into perspective, just how quick something can change, and you're like, oh, I can do this next year, I can do this next year, I can do this later, and, you might not be able to. So, things happen. So, I guess the value I can bring to you in this video is don't wait or push off the things you want to do in your life, because you never know what's going to cause you to not be able to do those, because it's not always old age. There's many different things that can happen and come up that will no longer allow you to do something you've always wanted to try or do in your life. What's even worse about that is you have the rest of your life to regret not doing it, rather than when you're old, you just have however many few years you have left usually. So I think I'm done with the video. I think I got everything I wanted to say. I tried to keep it make sense the best I could. So, if there's anything you want to do, try, get into whatever it is, just go do it. Don't wait. There's never going to be that perfect time. Don't wait for everything to be perfect and the stars to be aligned and all that in order to do what you want to do or try what you want to try. Go do it. Make it happen. So that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully it's not as long as what these recordings are. I'll try to shorten it, cut it up, get the full story in. But please like my video, subscribe to my channel if you want to follow along on my journey of just finding my passion and just doing shit and getting shit done in general, and making things happen, and just finding what I love to do and building that into something. So if that's what you're into, if that's what you want to see, and if you're also someone who just likes getting shit done and getting after it, then subscribe to my channel. And if you have a channel, leave it in the comments and I will follow your journey as well. So let me get back to finishing these U-joints because it's getting late. I'm not sure what time it is, but so I'm going to get back to these U-joints, and I'll see you guys in the next video.